Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we're back working on the 38 convertible. We are kind of on a roll with this thing this winter, and last video I got the windshield frame chopped, huge difference. Really psyched on that. It's something from literally the day we bought the car. I was like, this thing has to get chopped. Hoping to do a Carson top on it for anybody that's been asking. That's down the road a little bit. This summer, we're just trying, this season, we're trying to just get it running, driving, and reliable, and kind of looking how we want, and it'll be a driving work in progress. So I'm trying to knock off all the major stuff as far as styling goes that I want to get done on this car, and then hopefully maybe next season we can address getting the paint looking a little better, but we're going to drive it crappy for now. So one of the things on the car that we kind of noticed after we've had this car for a little while and we started looking at it a little closer, we noticed that this car, the taillights are not even. I don't know if this car had a fender replaced or what happened, but the right side taillight on this car sits quite a bit lower than the driver's side taillight. I don't know if something got changed or modified, or this is a different fender off maybe a standard or something. I'm not quite sure, but the taillights, they don't line up. One side, the passenger side's like sitting lower, and it actually looks like it's like cocked a little bit. Not quite right. So that, as soon as we noticed that, that just OCD off the charts, and you know, can't let that go. And since we have to correct that and probably move this mounting hole around, I figured why leave stock taillights on? It's a custom. We gotta modify everything. So I have a set of 39 Zephyr taillights, and the 39 Zephyr taillights are super cool. They look very, very similar, much like Ford, Mercury, Lincoln, all that stuff. Kind of did, everything kind of followed suit. So they're like oversized 39 or 38 Ford taillights, and then they just have a kick-ass like stylized trim that has the two bars across. They're like stretched out, just look a little bit cooler. And you would think on a custom, we're kind of putting like Mercury wheel, Lincoln taillights, doing some of that stuff, and that's usually what you saw on the custom. So because I got to modify this or change it anyways, I figured we might as well put something better on there. So I only have one Lincoln taillight bucket for this thing, and they are a lot different as far as the way the light comes in, the bulb holder comes in, and the bucket I have, I think, has been trimmed or modified and doesn't fit real well. So I think what I'm going to do, since I have all the pieces, I'm going to take these 39 buckets and actually make them larger so that they fit the 39 Zephyr trim. And it's what we have laying around. We'll make it all work. I'm going to trim and move things around a little bit and get these taillights sitting obviously even and at a good spot that everything looks as if it should have came that way. So should be a fun little project. So let's get started. We're going to get these taillights out, start modifying the buckets first. Oh wow.
What do you got?
I didn't know there was such a thing. This has plastic. I mean, this car's old. It's been done for a long time. It's plastic.
Damn.
It's a plastic lens. I didn't know they made such a thing.
Right, didn't see that coming.
And obviously this housing isn't original. It's got this like clear plastic gasket in there. Okay, thank goodness. The housing is metal. Like, please don't be plastic. So I bet if we take the other side off, it's might be an original housing. I don't know.
Please don't be plastic.
Yeah, I was like, I can't weld plastic. Not nearly as good at welding plastic. Don't have the.
It's a little hard.
And they have a square nut on the back with just a screw, so the tabs and the fenders aren't even there to screw the bucket in. That's interesting. That's interesting. The fender is stamped.
What's that?
The fender is actually stamped like it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I mean they stamped the fender for the flat spot for it to mount.
Right, that makes sense.
And it's stamped. It's not like there's factory indents there, so I don't know if I mean, there's a lot of room. I mean, unless that's what happened.
Oh, right.
Maybe where they drilled the holes.
Mm-hmm.
Plastic lenses.
Yeah.
Well, maybe when they redid the car in the 70s, you
Right.
could buy.
Yeah, it's last life. That was the high-tech shit at the time.
But plastic lenses. Well, you know, they might have changed that because they put it at 12 volt and dual circuit,
Oh, right.
so you could have turn signals in it.
That's true.
So they probably just bought a kit or something that you could get from
Right, whoever was making reproduction parts at that
in
point.
the 60s or something.
Yeah.
60s or early 70s. Street. 18 and an eighth, roughly. And what was that one?
16 and 7/8, 15, 16, something like that.
18 and an eighth. Let's go back to that one. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. That would definitely make
Well,
it
I
look
can just see
crooked.
in the holes, standing here looking at where the hole opening is. They're different.
Does it look different?
That's odd. I wonder if this is just a fender off another car.
Remember we had that reproduction fender on the
Yeah.
Roadster and how bad that was.
Let me catch it on there. There you go. Yeah, it's 17 and
16.
there's
Oh,
six-
no,
yeah,
no,
no, you're
probably
right.
a little on those 16 and 7/8.
Yeah, 15,
15,
16.
16, it's okay.
So to get this thing, so it's over an inch off.
Yeah.
Wow. How the heck did that happen?
Right?
I mean, now that they're off, you can see, just looking at the hole in the stamping, how it's
Yeah.
swung down
That
below.
one's definitely lower than that one, yeah. Son of a bitch, look at that. Huh.
Kablung. Nice. we go. Got taillights. All right, so we are working on getting these Lincoln lights. Now that I made these simple back plates, for lack of a better term, buckets, I cut up those like reproduction 60s or 70s reproduction 39 buckets. I ended up cutting them up and just using this kind of tunnel section where the bulb actually sits, and then I made this back plate out of thicker gauge material and just made it so it clips in and uses a screw like stock. And I wanted a flat area like that to work with so that we can mount it on the fender quite easily. So on the other one, what I did is I kind of figured out the height that we liked for this taillight on this side, and I used the upper hole and welded a stud in this plate and then bolted it in and then swung it so that everything was square, put the other stud in. So the studs in the back plate aren't necessarily centered correctly because we're working around these kind of messed up fenders and how everything's sitting, and we are moving the taillights around. So what I kind of decided is, because the taillights are bigger, the shape of the fender changes where we have these. So we actually moved the taillight, I think on this side we moved it down just a little bit, and then we moved it actually in a little bit so that this peak here, the taillight kind of flows, the peak kind of flows into the taillight. It used to actually sit out more and it looked a little odd. So we moved it in, but what that did is it created a gap on this side because the fender dives in real hard here. And then also at the bottom, because the taillight's bigger, it dives in and there's a gap here. So what I think I'm gonna do is actually kind of sculpt it all. So using some round bar stock like guys would do back in the day. And you put some round bar stock, weld it in, and then I'll kind of blend it down and out. A lot of times they would have done that with lead. I like doing it with just steel, so I'll probably do 90% of it with that. But that's how we're going to graft that all in and make it look bitchin' and make it all flow and look nice. The problem is now on the second side, you can really see the difference in how far off it was. So we have our measurements here. I wrote on the bumper. This taillight, the bottom of the taillight was at 16 and 15/16. This side was at 18 and 1/8. So that's how far that this side was drooped down. So over an inch, this thing was lower. So we made a mark where the bottom of the taillight on the other side is and where it needs to be, and it's basically right at the bottom of that little dimple there is where the bottom of the trim should basically sit. But you see, when we mount this, like I have it all the way up in the hole, it's quite a bit further down. So you can see that's where the bottom of the taillight is currently sitting because of how far down this light is. So I need to basically move this opening up here and then get the taillight where we want it, and then drill a new hole basically, put the stud, all that stuff, and get it mounted in. So we're gonna work off the other side and get it to kind of sit like the other side, and then we'll kind of go from there. But that's basically where we're at.
This is probably the only task. The second one takes longer because you have to match it to the first one.
Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the butt. And I can already tell the shape of this fender is a little different than this one. So that's going to cause some problems. But basically,
you can, just standing here, you can see this one's doesn't dive in as much.
Yeah, not quite as much. So we're going to work around that. It's the stupid stuff that you deal with 70-year-old cars or whatever. So I'm gonna, so what I'm gonna do is work on getting this sitting how we like, and get the studs in it and get it bolted in. And then once both of these are bolted in and they're tight, then I can start working with sculpting everything around it. And then we can work on, taking it off and cleaning it all up and blending it and everything. And then they'll match, they'll look cool, they'll be custom, but we're kind of hiding some of the messed up stuff with some of the sculpting and custom work, which I feel like that's how pinstriping started. They were covering up scratches with pinstriping. So it's the same idea. You're working around customizing it so it doesn't look like there's a mess up there or a different fender. But yeah, so we're gonna raise this up and push it in to match the other side, and then we'll work on sculpting, and I'll show you guys how we'll do all that.
So I think they were like circling the way back. Yeah.
may even weld these. Once I get this, the taillights like so that they bolt in, I may pull the taillights and weld all the
Openings.
up so that they're not as crazy looking, and it's just like one little hole and two. Should have got some plastic ones to. I don't know if it's fucking you up or what.
Bottom needs to go over a little bit. Right there.
Pushes the top out a little bit, but
Yeah, I think it needs to come up.
yeah, I can come. Oh yeah, so up should go. I should put a line at the top that'll show me this. I'll make a mark where it up more.
Also, if you had time to take a peek of wherever that oil's coming from.
Yeah.
If it's not a problem, if it's, don't have to be fixed, just see if it's something.
Not very good at this. Nope. It's all in getting the temp right, getting the heat right. I mean, the tinning helps, but now you're just trying to get it warm enough just to be able to push it around. Probably the hardest part down here. Sorry, Steve. Okay, yeah. Typical deal. I bit off, video was just going to be putting the taillights on, and here we are.
Yeah, right? We were just going to throw the taillights on the car. It's going to be quick and easy.
Super
right?
easy. Quick, just drill some holes.
Yeah.
Here I am. I already filled some rust holes, cleaned a mouse nest. Sounds like a typical mission creep, or project creep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm great at that. All right, so I got the taillights and the lead work kind of grafted in here. I'm going to remind everybody, I haven't leaded in years, and I've only ever really leaded with Winfield in some of his classes and different things I've done with him. So this is my first time with no safety net, so I definitely am not as good as I should be. So that's why we're doing this. So I got it all filled in. This side definitely went way faster because I was, kind of got the feel for it a little better. I also couldn't find my leading torch tip, so I was using my Rosebud, which was had to be way more careful because it was way hotter than it needed to be. But you can see I started just with the file, the Vixen file, to start hitting it a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll rough it in with the Vixen file, get everything nice and smooth. But the whole idea, as you can see, is now that taillight, it kind of like just flows out all around. Here in the bottom, you can see it kind of flows out instead of being a real, abrupt opening there. So I'm going to file that all out, get it sanded and everything, and blend it in decently. I'm not going to go real crazy because this car still needs a bunch of work. So there's no need to take it all the way to like finished, but I'm gonna blend it all in with the file and sand it and everything, and then we can dust it with some primer and be ready to drop our taillights back on and see how it looks. Clear over there?
Yep.
Behind the spot pulling instead of on it, so that wasn't going to help us a lot.
Where's your leveling blower?
All right, so that was what we call mission creep. So the project went from just quickly bolting on a set of Zephyr taillights and just taking the opening out to fit the taillights to, oh, the taillights are way off. Oh, this is wrong. Oh, we put the new taillights on and the shape doesn't really fit very well to where we're at now. So in the end, as you guys saw in the last handful of shots, I was doing some leading. I will reiterate, I am not a master with leading. I was basically the first time I've done it without somebody watching over me that has been doing it for a while. So pretty happy how it came out. The second one I definitely got way quicker and I kind of was getting a feel for it. Not having the right torch definitely it made it more difficult because the heat was much more focused, even using that rosebud and an oxyacetylene torch. It's a little aggressive, so I had to be very careful. And on the first side, I had a little bit of trouble. It was like running off because I was just getting a little too hot. But I kind of figured out the dance to do it, to heat the piece and heat the metal and do all that. But that's why Bill Hines and Winfield and all those and Barris and all those guys, they did it for a whole lifetime, and that's why they made it look so easy. It's very difficult, actually. But now I got this in here, it's pretty darn good. There's a couple little spots like right here where I didn't quite get enough lead in or smooth it out. So there's a little low spot, but I filed it all out and then threw my respirator on and just hit it with a sander to knock it out and blend all the edges. And it's pretty darn good. I mean, this car's still going to get traditional body filler. So anything that's here, we can just do a little bit of minor body filler work and that will all blend in. It should be good, but by using the lead, it's nice and strong. We weren't filling like a ½ inch to build everything up and build it out with body filler. So with this, it's going to move with the fender. It's going to be a lot stronger. And of course, it's cool to do something the old school way. So really happy with how this came out. This car is totally spiraling out of control and going from something we were going to make it an easy, quick throw together to now the trunk lid. I got to do something with the trunk lid. We can't have that handle and all that stuff. So I'm going to be shaving all that and doing something in the trunk area. I have a remote electric solenoid to put in for the trunk lid so we can shave everything. Yeah, there's just a ton of stuff we're going to be doing to this car as it goes further, but probably going to make this car painted eventually. People keep asking. Right now we're just trying to get it on the road, get the major modifications done and drive it this summer in the crappy form that it is, and then hopefully work all the bugs out, keep doing upgrades just like guys were doing back in the day. I'm just going to spray this with like some red oxide primer to seal up the metal, and then just drive it. And much like you'd see the old photos of customs back in the day with primer spots around the areas they were working on, it's going to be no different. And then eventually someday we'll get some paint. So thanks guys for following along. Appreciate it. Let me know what you think of the leaded in 39 Zephyr taillights. Thanks guys. Catch you later.